Hello everyone, this is Dana Harris with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and today we're talking about rationalizing the denominator. So first thing, we must understand that there are two things that cannot be in the denominator of a fraction. The first thing that can't be in the denominator is a zero. If there's a zero in the denominator of your fraction, that fraction is undefined. Also, you cannot have a radical in the denominator like this example. We have 2y over the square root of 18y to the third power. So we're going to get rid of this radical in the denominator by a process called rationalizing the denominator. In this particular example, all we have to do is multiply by this one term that is in the denominator. So we're going to multiply by the square root of 18y cubed, and whatever we do to the denominator, we must do to the numerator. So we have the square root of 18y cubed up there as well. Now, anytime I have a square root, if I multiply that term by itself, or it's the same thing as taking that term to the second power. So my new denominator is simply going to be 18y cubed. We're left with just 18y cubed in that denominator. In the numerator, we're going to have 2y times the square root of 18y cubed. Now I'm going to go ahead and break down the square root of 18y cubed because we have to simplify this. So this is 9 times 2 times y squared times y. Okay? Now I'm going to circle the 9 and the y squared because they're both perfect squares. Okay? And when we have that perfect square, we can come over here and we can have 2y. The square root of 9 is 3, so we're going to multiply that by 3. And the square root of y squared is y, so we're going to multiply that by y. We still keep our radical, and 2y is left under the radical. My denominator is still 18y to the third power. Okay? Now, coming back on this side, what we're going to have is if we multiply 2y times 3 times y, we'll get 6y squared. We still have times the square root of 2y. Okay? My denominator is still 18y cubed. Now, we must simplify this outside of the radical. So 6 over 18 is equal to 1/3 if we reduce that fraction. Y to the second power over y to the third power, according to our rules of exponents, we must take the exponent 2 and subtract 3, which would give us a -1. So we have 1/3 y to the -1 power, but we're going to change that according to our rules of exponents, and that will leave us with 2y over 3y. I'm sorry, this is the square root of 2y over 3y. The reason why this y is in the denominator is because y squared over y to the third is y to the -1 power, and anytime we have a negative exponent, we must make it positive by taking it to the denominator. 6 over 18 is equal to 1 over 3. We do not have to put this 1 there. And that is the first example of rationalizing the denominator. There are 2 other cases that we'll cover in the next 2 videos.